Good afternoon. Welcome TNC Radio.live. This is the Truckers Network Radio Show. And now here's your host, Shelley Johnson.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Yes, this is the Truckers Network Radio Show on TNC Radio.live, where we offer the news, weather, traffic, information, and entertainment our commercial drivers want and need. Owner-operators and drivers wanting to start a trucking company or expand need ways to get financed. There's a lot that goes into that. We wanted to learn more about what's needed to get approved for a loan. Tab Bank offers custom working capital solutions for businesses. They offer financing for the trucking and transportation industry. They have some thoughts to share about best practices in financing to help fund and grow a trucking business. With us today is Brandy Lozano. She's Senior Vice President of Operations at Tab Bank, and she's here to answer our questions. Welcome, Brandy. Thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So I thought we would start with, who is Tab Bank? Where is the bank located, and what does your company do?
The Tab Bank is, we are based in Ogden, Utah. I'm in Dallas. We have an office here in Dallas, but the bank is based in Utah. And we are a bank that focuses primarily on trucking, and we handle all other industries as well. But TAB stands for Transportation Alliance Bank. So they've spent a great deal of resources, towards the transportation industry to make sure that we can service that industry in the manner in which they are looking to be serviced.
This is wonderful. So you understand the trucking business. Not a lot of banks do.
We do understand the trucking business, yes. And that's correct. Not a lot of banks do.
So how is financing for trucking and transportation different? Are there some things that improve the chance of an approval with the best interest rate for the purchase of capital equipment or business growth? What do drivers and owner-operators and small trucking companies need to know?
Well, first they need to know that not everybody will finance a startup. So if you are a startup, you definitely want to make sure that you're seeking out that partner who is comfortable financing those startups. Here at Tab Bank, we do offer financing to startup new authority industries. But really, you want to look for a bank that or your financial partner that really knows your industry, understands what your needs are, knows your customers, what your customers require. A lot of these carriers, they're looking for somebody to really do their back office services, right? Because they're on the road, they want to deliver that load, send us those rate cons and the bill of ladings, get their money and move on down the road to that next load, right? They really don't have the time or the resources to handle all those back office services. And that's where we come into play. So that choosing a financial partner that can help you with those back office services is going to greatly impact your company.
Oh, absolutely. And so many drivers that say they want to be an owner-operator or they want to start a trucking company. They know driving. They don't necessarily know business.
Right. And that's where we come in. Yes. So
that's super helpful.
Yeah. So offering them the tools and the resources to make those good decisions is vital to their growth.
What kind of tools and resources do you offer?
Well, really one of the best tools that you can offer to a carrier is going to be credit resources. You want to make sure that we're vetting, we want to make sure that we're vetting, and they want to make sure that we're vetting the brokers that they're going to be hauling for. Is this a good broker? Should they, pick up and deliver this load? If they do, are they going to get paid? Because as everybody knows, not all companies are the best with cash flow. So you want to make sure that the broker that you are opting to do business with can pay you back.
Absolutely. Now, I see you have a blog on your website that has tips for somebody who wants to start in a trucking business. Did you want to kind of go through some of that? I see one of the first steps is a business plan. I think that is something that is very foreign to maybe a lot of drivers. They don't think that way. How do they go about all of these?
They don't think that way. And I really wish I did know more about that blog. That is news to me. I was unaware there was a blog on our website. So I will definitely look into that and be a little bit more informed on that on our next conversation. So I apologize for that.
No, that's fine. Do you know essentially what are some of the things, the components that somebody needs if they come to your bank and they want to do a startup or they want to expand in their business in transportation? What do they need to bring to the table? What do they have to have? How do they have all of their ducks in a row, so to speak?
Well, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have your authority, okay? Your DOT, your MC authority, you've got your insurance in place, you're registered at the Secretary of State, you are ready to start your business. If you're looking for equipment financing, you definitely want to be with a bank that does offer a suite of products. So we can look into financing your equipment for you, offering you competitive rates. Helping you, we do have insurance partners that we can get you in touch with if you, are unable to find an insurance partner that maybe you're not getting the best rate and you really want to shop around. So we can put you in touch with other partners that can help you do that shopping. Fuel cards. Fuel cards are vital, especially to a startup carrier. Having that fuel card is going to allow you to get to that next load, because sometimes you may not have the resources to get to the next load until you get paid by your factor. But if your truck's not moving, you're not making money. So fuel cards are a great resource for a startup carrier.
What are the biggest red flags that people can avoid when they go for financing? Because there are a lot of stumbling blocks, especially in the transportation industry. And certainly this is what's wonderful about your bank. You understand the transportation industry, so you can maybe guide people.
Yes, you can. Red flags would be, one of the biggest red flags you want to look for is, does that lender or partner, factor, whoever you're looking at, do they know your industry? Okay. Do they have the tools and resources to help you with your industry, to help you with your growth? If they know nothing about your industry, it's probably not going to be a good fit. What is the turnaround time in which they're going to get you funded? If you get your invoices to them or your load docs, how long is it going to take them to get you funded? If there's a 48, 72 hour turnaround, most carriers can't wait 48 to 72 hours to receive their funds. So you're going to want to look for somebody that offers you that same day funding. So those are going to be your biggest red flags. Do they know your industry, and how quickly can they get you funded? If the answer to those is no, it's probably not going to be the best fit for you.
Makes sense. Now, are there do's and don'ts for drivers who want to get financed? I would imagine certainly just getting all of the paperwork together and getting licensed and certified and getting their authority, all of those things, that's a very time-consuming process. They probably should put together some sort of checklist, I would imagine.
Yeah. So typically for an underwriting process, you just want to make sure that your authority is active, your entities are active at the Secretary of State, because the lender needs to be able to contract with a legal entity, right? So you want to make sure that your insurance is in place. As long as those three things are key and established, then you're more than likely going to be able to get financed. That's really the three main things that a lender is going to be looking for a small ticket carrier. Is, do they have authority? Do they have insurance? And is there MC authority or their MC authority, Secretary of State, and insurance? And we're also going to look at their safety ratings. Are you accident prone? If your safety ratings are not good, are you going to be able to secure insurance later down the road? Is this a 3-month deal or a 6-month deal? So there's some key things that the lender is going to take into consideration, and those are really the 3 things that you want to pay attention to.
Okay. Well, I know that there are a lot more things that we need to cover because there's so much that goes into this, but this is wonderful that your bank understands the transportation industry. So that's very helpful to our drivers. We're talking with Brandy Lozano. She's Senior Vice President of Operations at Tab Bank. You're listening to the Truckers Network radio show here on TNCRadio.live. Stay tuned for more coming up.
Hauling livestock. 3 things to consider. There are many different types of freight you can haul as a truck driver, and livestock is just one of them. According to the FMCSA, there are roughly 250,000 drivers who are specialty livestock haulers in the United States. Hauling livestock isn't for everyone. It takes a special kind of truck driver with patience and who doesn't mind the smell or getting their hands dirty. Drivers with previous experience in hauling livestock make a great candidate for livestock drivers. However, drivers without livestock experience can still make great livestock truck drivers. Here are 3 things to consider regarding hauling livestock. Different types of livestock. While cattle make up the largest part of the livestock transportation industry, there are many different types of livestock you can haul. Some common examples of livestock loads are chickens, pigs, goats, and sheep. As a truck driver, you can get the necessary training to haul high-value livestock. Animal care. You'll want to be educated on the type of livestock you're hauling so you can provide the best care. Livestock drivers also need to have patience and drive defensively. Higher pay. Due to livestock haulers needing specific requirements, they're paid a higher rate for loading and unloading animals. They're also considered a specialty hauler, so the pay is increased, and for good reason. Drivers hauling livestock must maintain additional certifications to show their understanding of the risks involved in hauling animals. Some risks include escaped livestock, injury, or deck collapsing. Drivers will also have to acquire a specific type of trailer depending on the animals hauled. Livestock haulers need to also consider the biosecurity involved in transporting animals. If your livestock trailer isn't frequently cleaned and disinfected after each load, animals can become infected by feces, blood, and urine, feed and water containers, insects and parasites, live bacteria, or viruses on surfaces. Livestock haulers must be aware of the transmission risks from delivery site to delivery.
Hear the best of TNCRadio.live every night. It's TNC Radio Primetime. Interviews, music, information, and news you can use every night, 7 to 9 Eastern, 6 to 8 Central, TNC Radio Primetime.
Welcome back to the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly, and we're talking with Brandy Lozano. She's the Senior Vice President of Operations at Tab Bank. They work with the transportation and trucking industry, and she's here to help give us some information on how people can improve their chances of loan approvals and all the different things that they need to think about when running their trucking business. Tom, you said you had a question for Brandy.
Yeah, Brandy, I wanted to talk a little bit about factoring in this segment. And where I want to start with is, some drivers have been company drivers all their lives, so they don't really know much about factoring. And others are starting their own authority and learning about it the hard way. So let's start easy here to begin. What is factoring?
So factoring is essentially the purchase of an accounts receivable. For a trucker, what that means is when you deliver that load, you send us your rate confirmation, your bill of lading, all the supporting documentation, that you're required to provide to that broker in order to get paid. You send that paperwork to us. We fund you at a discounted rate. We give you your money now so that you can cash flow your business, pay for that fuel, pay for the insurance, the maintenance on your truck, your daily expenses in running your business. You can move on down the road to that next load. We're going to then bill your customer, wait those terms, collect against your customer. If there's any short payments, we're going to work with your broker to find out what those short payments are for. And if necessary, we're going to file on their bond. So we kind of take all of those stresses off of the carrier so that they can continue to pick up that next load and move on down the road and make money.
It's no secret in the world of trucking that for some, factoring is a four-letter word. And because there are helpful and very competent people who do factoring, and there's also some people who are, shall we say, less than helpful.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm telling stories here. I think you realize what I'm talking about is that it also attracts some unscrupulous people. Agreed?
You're absolutely correct. And that's very unfortunate, but I think you find that really in any industry.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I've been in the factoring industry for 26 years, and you're absolutely correct. You've got, factors who are respectable. We're here to help the carriers, help our clients be successful, to grow, and expand upon their business. And because these companies, it's not just their livelihood, but they have employees that that they're servicing their livelihood. So we're helping them help their communities in a way as well. But then you also have the bad seeds. Unfortunately, we do have these carriers that pop in and out, or you have the carrier, or not the carriers, but the factors. You have factors who pop up and they really don't provide the best customer service. It's not a good experience for the carrier. It puts a really bad taste in their mouth. They hear the word factoring and they just groan. It's unfortunate, but it does happen, which is why it's really, really important for that carrier to really vet the factor that they're looking to enter into business with. A lot of these carriers talk. They talk. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna run into a carrier who is already factoring or has factored with the factoring company that you may be looking at. Ask their opinion. What was their service like? How did they handle their accounts? I can tell you here at Tab Bank, we receive a significant amount of referrals from our existing clients, where they're referring business to us because they appreciate what the value and the customer service that we bring to their company. So you really want to look for a partner that brings that value to you.
There are a lot of different companies, like we've said, some are, and I don't know what percentage, let's say 98% are reputable, but it's that other 2% that kind of smears the whole thing. Where they say one bad apple, And,
Right.
We were contacted here at the station from a factoring company I never heard of, wanting to do advertising here. The questions they asked me set off some yellow alerts. And I found out, I reached over to the people over at OOIDA. They keep a list of reputable factoring companies,
Okay.
Which I did not know. And they were not on the good. I guess they had 2 lists, like Santa Claus, the good list and the naughty list. Yeah, this group was on the naughty list, and so we ended up not doing business with them. But that's an area where you can find out more about factoring companies. And since you've been doing this for so long, what are some of the red or yellow lights that if you start talking to a factoring company, what should you watch out for if they say certain things or ask you to do certain things? Where should you kind of be alert?
Where should you be alert? You really want to be alert if the process of getting your account underwritten and documented is excessively long, especially if you are a smaller carrier. If they start, digging too deep, asking too many questions, asking questions that don't make any sense, to underwrite what you would consider a small ticket carrier, which is going to be someone of like 10 trucks or less. It really shouldn't take any more than 48, 72 hours at the max We like to get them done within 24 hours, but sometimes, if there's, multiple members to the entity, and we have to ask for additional information on that member. But your underwriting process should go smoothly. So if you're getting asked questions that you're uncomfortable with in the underwriting process, that should really be a red flag. If you enter into an agreement, read your contracts. If there's some sketchy language in that contract, it's probably not a good partnership that you want to enter into. You want that agreement to be fair for both parties. So those are really going to be the red flags. Pay attention to the underwriting process and pay attention to your agreements. Do not sign your agreement unless you read it.
Should somebody using a factoring company have to post money to that factoring company before they can use them?
Some factors will require what they call a due diligence deposit. That's typically going to be on your larger companies, which is going to be your facilities of about $1 million size or higher. There are some factors that even on your smaller ones will ask for a small due diligence. As long as it's a small balance, say, $250 or less,
right.
That's not uncommon and it's not unreasonable. But if you're a carrier that, a one truck carrier, and you're going to be doing $25,000, $30,000 a month, and you've got a factor asking for a $5,000 due diligence, that's a red flag.
There you go. That's where I was going, because we do see that, and I think that's one of the ones that if you see that out there, something's not right.
Right. You're exactly correct.
Yeah,
you're not going to get the due diligence back.
Exactly. And so that's a concern and something that people should be watching out for. I think also a factoring company that doesn't have a physical address, that it can only give you a post office box and that kind of stuff, that concerns me.
Oh, that is a huge red flag. If a factoring company does not have a physical location that you can walk into and visit and sit down and speak to someone, serious red flag. Do not enter into an agreement with that company.
Right. We've only got a minute or so left here before the next break. Anything else jump out at you that's like that we should...
Do your Google search. If you're unable to find them on Google, right. Or if it's, you can look at the page and determine whether or not it's, just, thrown up overnight, right. So make sure that, that the company, do your research on that company. And if there are any red flags that stick out, run. Do not enter an agreement with them.
Yeah, if the website hasn't been updated since 1992,
it's a red flag.
Yeah. No doubt. Run, don't walk. Run, Forrest, run. Right?
Exactly. Just because somebody's offering you money doesn't mean you have to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Yes. We have to go to break here, Brandy. This is terrific information. You're listening to the Truckers Network radio show, and we're talking with Brandy Lozano. She's Senior Vice President of Operations at Tab Bank. Stay tuned for more great information coming up right here on TNCRadio.live.
Becoming a truck driver is not an easy task. You have to meet several requirements. After reviewing and meeting the requirements, you'll need to obtain a CDL, or a commercial driver's license, through the DMV in your state. To get your CDL, you must pass a knowledge and skills test. Many drivers attend a trucking school to help prepare them for the tests. After successfully passing the CDL test, you now have your Class A CDL. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Well, there's a little bit more to becoming a professional truck driver than just passing a few exams and getting your CDL. Trucking, as you may know, is not an easy career. It can be stressful, dangerous, lonely, and emotionally draining. Drivers need to make it a priority to become fully prepared for life on the road. Being prepared for life on the road can help avoid unnecessary mistakes and losses. Attending a trucking school is one way for drivers to prepare themselves for their new adventure. However, drivers don't always learn everything they need to be successful during their time at trucking school. Trucking schools will cover the basics for classroom instruction and in-driving modules, but new drivers need to learn more than just the basics. How do new drivers acquire the right training? The Truckers Network is proudly partnering with Advanced Pre-Employment Training, which is a training course for both professional drivers and trucking companies. Advanced Pre-Employment Training helps grow your industry knowledge by providing training courses on all the important topics for becoming a successful driver. These include pre-trip inspection, company representation, communication, document organization, bill of lading, refrigeration units, weight and axles, safety, and industry knowledge. Their focus points are to increase stability and growth in the business, eliminate mistakes and financial losses, maintain company safety ratings, and eliminate drivers and owner-operators quitting or losing their jobs. The Truckers Network members can now save 5% off advanced pre-employment training courses by using our exclusive promo code. Become a member today of the Truckers Network and save instantly on the industry's best products and services. Visit the Truckers Network website at app.thetruckersnetwork.net. That's app.thetruckersnetwork.net.
This is Heath Sanders, and you're listening to TNCRadio.live.
Welcome back to the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly, and we're talking with Brandy Lozano. She's Senior Vice President of Operations at Tab Bank. She's been providing some terrific insight here. Tom, you said you had some more questions for Brandy.
Brandy, I wanted to pick up on something we were talking about off the air. And this, when you're young in business, that doesn't mean you're a young man or young woman. It means you're young in the business world. Perhaps you've been driving for 20 years, and but working for a larger company. You decide you want your own authority. You jump out there and start doing it. The two major areas of concern that I hear a lot of drivers talk about, where they fall into the pit and get in a little trouble. One is around factoring, but also this bit around double brokering. So let's start off talking about that just a little bit. What is double brokering?
Yeah, double brokering is actually a big problem for carriers, and it seems to be growing. There's like this network of double brokers that are all working together. You can catch a lot of it on your paperwork. Pay attention to your rate confirmations. Who does it show listed as the broker on the rate confirmation, as well as the bill of lading? Okay, that bill of lading, pay attention to those. If you're given a rate confirmation from your broker and it has them listed as the carrier, but also the broker, and they tell you, oh, it's okay, go ahead and haul the load. This is a blind load. Don't haul the load, okay? If you are not listed as the carrier on that rate confirmation and the bill of lading does not list the broker that has hired you to do business as the broker on that rate confirmation, do not haul that load. Specifically, just as an example, this came up just this week in our office. One of our relationship managers is looking through the paperwork. We noticed on the rate confirmation that it's one broker, which is, a lower level broker, it's a no-name broker, okay? It's not one of your big, larger brokers. But on the bill of lading, it listed Coyote, okay? Coyote is a larger broker, as everybody knows, and the larger brokers, they'll kind of work together. If they have a load, they can't deliver it, they might give it to one of the other brokers, JB Hunt or whatever. It's common to see loads moving around between the larger brokers. It's not common to see a JB Hunt or somebody giving a smaller broker one of their loads.
Right.
If you see that, that's 100% you can guarantee that it's double brokering. Do not haul that load. If you're looking at your rate confirmations and We see a lot of the email addresses for the agents being Gmail accounts.
Right.
And that's not to say every Gmail account is a double brokering load, but we are seeing more and more of these double brokers using Gmail accounts and not company accounts.
Also, I think too with that, when they use Gmail accounts that are like, instead of JB Hunt, it's JG Hunt.
Exactly.
That
yes.
kind of stuff. That I think is a red flag. And also when you've been talking to a broker and you've got a specific name of the brokering company, Smith Brokering, and then you get the paperwork and it's Jones and doesn't say anything about Smith, I think that's also a red flag, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Always Google the phone number that's on your rate confirmation and see who that number goes back to. And just is another example that we saw this week. Our relationship manager, she was looking at the rate confirmation and something just didn't look quite right about it. She said, you know what, I'm going to Google the phone number that's on here. So she Googles the phone number and it's, X-rated tape company, right? Yeah. I mean, it was a little bit crazy. So she comes in my office and she says, look, if y'all are tracking my internet, this just happened. I'm like, it's okay. But definitely Google those numbers. Don't just take a rate confirmation for face value and think that everything is legit. Google will be your best friend. And you don't have to just use Google. Yahoo, MSN,
whatever.
There's all kinds of search engines out there that can give you information.
Sure. So in working with Tab Bank, so let's kind of bring this back around to you guys specifically. I'm a new guy, just got my authority. I'm, building up relationships. Where can you assist me in this? Can you help me make sure I'm working with good brokers?
Absolutely. So one of the things that you definitely want, if you are picking a factoring company, one of the things that you want to make sure they offer is credit services. Let them vet your broker before you pick up that load. So we offer those credit services to our clients. They have access to a portal 24/7. They can go in, they can pull it up, they can see, does it meet our credit qualifications? If it meets our credit qualifications, they know they can pick up that load and haul it, and they know when they deliver it and send us that paperwork, we're going to buy it.
Now, wait, Brandy, you're surprising me here. You're telling me that this is a service that is a part of working with Tab Bank. I can actually go in and check on the broker?
Absolutely.
Wow, great.
You want to vet your broker before you pick up that load, 100%. You want to know if you deliver that load and you deliver the paperwork to your broker, to your factor, you want to know that they're going to purchase that load, because you need the cash to get down the road to your next load, so that you can sell the next load, right?
Right.
Especially these small guys, they're just getting started. Their cash flow is not as heavy. They need every load that we don't factor hurts them. So let your factor credit qualify your customers. Know before you pick up that load and deliver it that I'm going to buy it.
Goodness. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that those kinds of services were available. See, this is where I think a lot of the new authorities get stuck, is they don't know what's available out there. So, so backing up, talking about Tab Bank a little bit, is this where you would see yourself as a different setter between, Nations Bank, which doesn't exist anymore, so I picked on them. Is that what's different? Is that you guys actually know this business?
We do know this business, yes, and we offer a suite of products that can help our carriers, right, or our clients. When you're looking for a factor, you want to be that one-stop shop, right? Mm-hmm. They don't want to have to go to 5 different places, for everything. For example, some of the products that we offer to our clients, is we offer the invoice factoring, we offer equipment financing, we've got a suite of treasury services. We are an FDIC registered bank. So we offer checking accounts, savings account, money market accounts, CDs. We offer credit services to vet their brokers. We've got fuel card partners, insurance partners, business term loans. We offer asset-based lending for those larger companies that qualify for it. And, if you've got real estate, if you've got, a shop that you need to park your truck at, if you're planning on having an entire fleet and you need to have a shop, well, we offer commercial real estate to help you, build your shop as well. So, that when you're looking for that partner, especially as a startup, what do they offer, and what links can they help you grow your business?
That's super convenient, and it really takes a lot of the headaches out of starting a new business like that, especially for maybe a driver who's not familiar with all of these things.
Exactly. Yes.
That's a wonderful insurance plan, if you will. I mean, it's insurance for success. I mean, I really like this.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So did you have any other questions there, Tom? Or
No, I'm sitting here with a big smile on my face. I think this is just great information.
It really is. And I do love the fact that your bank knows trucking and transportation, because it seems like, I think a lot of financial institutions, it's kind of a mystery.
It is a mystery. There's a lot of different factors out there, and not every factor services transportation. Like I said, I've been in the industry for 26 years, and I've worked for factors that will do what you call general industries, and I've worked for factors that, that focus on transportation. So when you are making the decision to enter into a partnership for your company to help you grow and cash flow and be successful, make sure that you are entering into a relationship, and a contractual relationship, because it is a contractual relationship, with somebody that knows your business, knows your industry, knows your customers, and can help you be successful further down the road, and has the tools and resources. Yes.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And certainly you know how to speak the language. And there are a lot of terms that come with every industry, and you don't want to have to be sitting there as a driver explaining everything. That
Exactly.
adds to the frustration. This is wonderful. We do have to go to break here, Brandy. I'd like to unpack some more information. You're offering some wonderful insights here. We're talking with Brandy Lozano. She's Senior Vice President of Operations at Tab Bank. You're listening to the Truckers Network radio show on tncradio.live. Stay tuned for more coming up.
Tips for starting your own trucking company. If you want to start your own trucking company, there are many things to consider. The Truckers Network has put together a list of tips for starting your own trucking company that'll help you get going in the right direction. Have a business plan. Pick a name for your trucking company. Perform a trademark search online to make sure your name's available. Select your target market. Targeting the right market is critical when starting a trucking company. Becoming a special carrier can help you avoid some competition. It could also help you increase your sales opportunities. Make some important decisions. Come up with your rates. Decide if you want to be an owner-operator, and will you do short hauls or long hauls. Know the legal requirements. You must have a valid CDL, commercial driver's license, and if you're going to be an owner-operator, you'll need to follow the terms of the FMCSA. That's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. And you must use United States Department of Transportation and Motor Carrier Authority numbers. That's the USDOT and MC. The USDOT number tracks your safety records and regulatory compliance. The MC number, also known as Operating Authority, classifies your trucking company and the cargo you can carry. To get these numbers, you'll need to register your trucking business with the FMCSA. Get trucking insurance and register with the UCR system after getting your USDOT and MC numbers. Apply for an IFTA. That's an International Fuel Tax Agreement permit. This permit allows your business to get one fuel license, and the rule says you can file fuel tax returns 4 times a year in the state your business is based in. There are several more permits and forms I didn't mention that you'll need based on where you plan to drive, and the goods you intend to carry. The FMCSA is a great place to learn more. Funding your trucking business. In most cases, starting a new trucking company takes between $10,000 and $30,000. Keep in mind that this doesn't include buying a semi-truck, only paying the down payment on one. There are many factors that go into the decision of whether or not to buy a new truck or a used truck. If you decide to get a used truck, be sure to thoroughly inspect it, and I would even recommend having a diesel mechanic take a look. Insuring your business assets. A trucking insurance company that specializes in commercial vehicles is the best place to turn to. You can also consult the FMCSA to gain some understanding of what type of trucking insurance is right for you. Another great source of information is trucking forums and social media communities on Facebook. Prepare your truck for the road. Decals displaying your USDOT number, the company's registered name, and your radio frequency ID tags must be displayed on your truck. Don't forget license or international registration plates. You'll also need to install an FMCSA registered and compliant electronic logging device. It's called an ELD. These steps are just a brief overview of starting your own trucking company. The Truckers Network has some great articles that you can read to learn more about trucking in general. And when you become a member, you'll get some great discounts to help you save money so more of your profit stays in your pocket.
Our grocery stores are stocked. Our packages arrive in just a few short days. No matter the day or season, we can thank America's truck drivers for the efficient delivery of over 10 billion tons of goods a year that we rely on. On this National Truck Driver Appreciation Week, we offer a big thank you to professional truck drivers for hauling the everyday goods that meet our daily needs. We thank a trucker. Brought to you by Trucking Moves America Forward at truckingmovesamerica.com. Follow us on social media at TruckingFWD. Welcome back to the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly, and we're talking with Brandy Lozano, who's Senior Vice President of Operations at Tab Bank. They work with the transportation and trucking industry. Brandy, I love all of the insights you've been giving us and all of the drivers. This is tremendous information. What are some of the cash flow mistakes that a carrier should avoid? You said you had some insight into that as well.
Yes. So a lot of the mistakes that we see a carrier make most commonly is, taking loads at a loss. Sometimes it's necessary to take a load at a loss, especially if you've got a truck out and you need to get him back home, and it's the only load that you can get back. Sometimes it's just you cannot avoid it, right? But you want to make sure that you're minimizing the number of loads that you take at a loss, and that it's absolutely necessary in order to take that. You also want to make sure that you're working with those creditworthy brokers, right, that we discussed earlier. If your factor is denying credit against that broker, there's typically going to be a really good reason as to why. So make sure you're communicating with your factor as to why they made the decision to deny credit against that broker in the event that you choose to go ahead and haul that load. Sometimes you may choose to go ahead and haul it if the carrier or if the factor does deny it. But typically what I would encourage a carrier to do is if you're going to haul that load, even though the factor denies it, make sure you're getting quick pay. Don't wait those terms. Also, we're seeing more and more carriers that are going and taking out these unsecured loans. They have extremely aggressive repayment terms where it's a specific amount on a specific date that's auto-drafted out of your bank account. And where carriers are getting in trouble is if their cash flow demands don't always necessarily meet the recovery plan that's agreed to in that loan. It can cause them to get upside down. It could cause them to default against those loans. And when they do, those lenders get extremely aggressive. So it's really not the best decision to enter into a high interest unsecured loan because taking out those types of loans generally has consequences that can greatly impact your cash flow. So, and most factors will have language in their security agreements that can put you in default by taking out those unsecured loans. Even though it may appear on the surface that it's unsecured, once you default, that lender reserves the right in that agreement to file a UCC or file claim or file suit and claim rights to the collateral that's already pledged to the factor. So be very careful when you're entering into those types of agreements. And in fact, before you enter into that type of agreement, reach out to your factor. You know, if you're experiencing cash flow issues, make sure that you're communicating with your financial partner. That communication is very key because they may be in a position to offer financial options, you know, such as term loans or over advances or lines of credits, which are typically at a much lower interest rate and a far less aggressive repayment plan. So always communicate with your partner before you seek outside resources to try to bring in that additional cash flow if you're struggling.
Don't act in desperation. That probably is a good. Yeah. And I think that quite often, especially with owner operators and so forth, and if they're new, that could be maybe their knee-jerk reaction because they want to be able to cover the bills, even if they just need a momentary piece of a little bit of help. Then they go to the wrong people. That could be a disaster.
Right. And they may be afraid to go to the factor because they may not want the factor to know that they're having cash flow problems.
Sure.
But really, that communication with your financial partner is key because, 9 times out of 10, they're going to help you. They're going to find a way to help you. They have partnered with you for a reason, so let them help you when they can.
You are so tremendously knowledgeable. I really appreciate it, Brandy. This has been terrific information. Where do people find your bank, and what is your website? What's the contact information?
Right. So you can reach us on the web at tabbank.com. It's TABBANK. So there's 2 B's together. Under the business lending section, go to factoring, trucking factoring. You can find resources to contact our team through the website, or you can contact our sales team directly by phone. They're more than welcome to help you. The lines are there waiting. The phone number is 469-592-7401. Again, that's 469-592-7401. Just give them a call and they'll be more than happy to answer your questions and see what we could do to help you with your business.
Now, do you have branches around the country?
We do not. We have the location in Ogden, Utah, and then we have our office here in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. But people can call you and work with you remotely because obviously drivers and the people in the transportation industry, they're all over North America.
Absolutely. Yeah. All clients are from coast to coast. We even have clients in Canada.
Excellent. So you have a North American clientele and you can help everyone. This is wonderful. This is
everyone.
Again, what is your website in case somebody didn't write it down?
It is tabbank.com. That's TABBANK.com.
Okay. Any final thoughts, maybe some tips, some things, some food for thought for drivers and even people that are thinking about starting a trucking business?
If you're thinking about starting a trucking business, definitely think about your finances, who you want as your financial partner, and make sure that you have the resources to get started. And your factor is typically going to be that partnership that's going to offer you those resources to get started.
Excellent. I really appreciate this, Brandy. This is a marvelous find for us. We were not aware of Tab Bank, and we are so glad you're out there, and we're so glad to share this with our listeners.
Well, we appreciate you inviting us. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You've been listening to the Truckers Network radio show here on TNCRadio.live. We've been speaking with Brandy Lozano, Senior Vice President of Operations at Tab Bank. Definitely check out what they're doing. They can help so much. They specialize in the transportation and trucking industry, and that's unique in and of itself. This is terrific. Definitely stay tuned for more great information and entertainment right here on TNCRadio.live. We got some great music, great information, great programming in our primetime lineup coming up. So stay tuned right here on TNCRadio.live. Thank you for listening to another great interview on TNCRadio.live and the Truckers Network Radio Show. All of the material you hear on TNCRadio.live on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of TNCRadio.live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast of the Truckers Network Radio Show.